Okay, so we had bacon as 23 last time, so let's just put bacon equals 23. And what's some other things we can do with variables? Well, we can actually store variables inside variables, and when we do this, we call that variable that we're storing stuff inside an array. So if we had bacon, if we want two values, we want the first value of bacon, and I'll explain that why that's a 0 in a second, to be I'm first, and the second value of bacon to be I'm second. So, now if we echo out, or if we show everything that's in bacon, which a function, when you do, instead of doing echo, we're going to do print r, and what this does is basically it takes everything inside whatever variable array, wherever you give it, and it explodes out onto the screen. So that's good when you're testing stuff. So this will say I'm first and I'm second. See, this is what happens when you make an error. Sorry, print r has to have brackets around it, the variable that's working on. And that's because print r is a special function by PHP, but we'll get to functions in a later tutorial. So, see, it explodes out on the screen for us to see. So we can see the first value is I'm first, and the second value is I'm second. Now, the way you set and access the different values is you take the array name, in this case it's bacon, and you put square brackets. Inside the square brackets, you take the value that you're working with. So we want another variable to say, we'll call it all, equal to both those values together. So we would do that with bacon, and we want to grab a value inside the array of bacon. And we want to grab the first value, so we put a 0 inside the square brackets. And like we did before, we're going to use a dot to put two strings together, and it's called concatenating, but I'm just going to call them put it together. And then bacon, square brackets, because we want to access a value inside bacon, 1. What that's going to do is set all to I'm first, I'm second. So instead of print r, we'll do echo all. What that does is I'm first, I'm second. Now, the reason we do a 0 for the first value is because computers think as 0 is the first value instead of 1. It's just how computers work. You just have to get used to it. It's something you have to get used to. There's a reason for it, but it's really well, not extremely complex, but it's just how computers think. And I'm not super completely sure. You just kind of have to get used to it. It's in pretty much if you're making, or not HTML, but JavaScript, Java, C++, C#, Objective-C, Python, all of them. 0 is your first value, and then it goes up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that ways. You just gotta get used to it. It's just how it works. Now, if that's really useful. But let's say, well, I don't want to put a number to the values inside that variable that's containing other stuff. I want a name for that. Well, instead of doing a 0 or 1, you can actually put a name. And the way you do that is, again, with strings, put a string inside the square brackets, and then the name. So it's kind of like a variable inside a variable, even more so in this case. So we'll call cheese. So we want the array bacon, and we want the value for cheese inside bacon. And we want to set that to I have cheese. Now, if we print everything in bacon, you'll see that it's what that is. So we'll do that like we did before. And again, semicolon to tell PHP it's the end of the line. And you'll see it's an array, and for the value and for the string cheese, it has I have cheese. So what arrays basically do is they allow you to contain a set of data a good way to think of them is as a list. So kind of like a list. So 0 is equal to one value. Now, of course, this is an actual PHP, but I'm just kind of showing you. Second value, and then 2 is equal to another value, and so on and so on. And basically, when we put a string into it, we're just saying inside bacon, cheese is equal to one value, and then we could have another name like bacon inside bacon equal to another value. So that's basically what an array is. Now, what's really cool in an array is, well, actually I'll get to that in the next tutorial.